Welcome into our Locked On NBA Insider Report. Chris Manning from Locked On Cavs. It is the NBA draft lottery taking place today. Wasn't a super high percentage for the Cavs, so they kind of ended up where we thought they were going to be with a 0.5%. They're not too high up there on the list. What was your immediate reaction, and kind of were you surprised at all that they kind of stayed where they were expected to be?
Not surprised. Obviously, this is
Mm-hmm.
likely where they're going to be. I think for them still a little disappointing that they're picking this pick. Honestly, they were hoping to make the playoffs, but I think they'll probably try to come away with something here of use if this is the cards they've kind of been dealt.
Obviously the Cavaliers are in a different kind of position than some of these other teams, right? Like they were in the playoff contention there, in the play-in tournament, excuse me. And just kind of what can you see them adding at this position in the draft to hopefully help them kind of make that next jump?
They talked a lot, or Kobe Altman specifically, their president of basketball operations, talked at the end of the year about shooting and athleticism. So I think this roster is really lacking for quality wings. So I think you're looking at an Ochai Agbaji, Atari Eason, Dyson Daniels from the G League, those kind of guys. I don't know exactly the skill set they're going to zero in on. There's a lot of time still to go, but I think guys that can shoot and guys that are a little more athletic and increase some of these traits they've singled out a couple times are the kind of prospect they're probably going to be looking for at 14.
And in a draft where, there isn't necessarily like a top pick, right? Like there's a lot of different people are leaning different ways depending what team ends up on the top pick. Who are you hoping maybe is, I know you mentioned a couple of names, but might slide down to you guys that you would love to see on your team?
If there was a guy that we're going to slide them, and I think that would help them pretty directly, it would be Benedict Manthurian from Arizona. You talk about a prototype 3-and-D guy, a skill set they desperately need to space around Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and Darius Garland. I don't think that guy's going to slip to 14, and maybe Abaji's like a version of that if he ends up kind of being the pick, but someone like Manthurian slipping there could make a lot of sense for them if the draft shakes out weird and he dips for whatever reason.
And at that position, is that someone that you think could see some, depending who they pick, of course, could see some legitimate playing time with this squad because they are so young and versatile?
Yeah, I think depending on who they take, like I could see someone like Abaji in particular, that 3-and-D type wing, filling in right away because they have a real need for that right away. It's not going to be a case, I think, where unless the guy looks like a developmental prospect, unless the guy really leans that way, if it's a Dyson Daniels, for instance, that guy might have to sit. But I think if it's someone who comes a little more mature, has played 2 years of college basketball, in like Abaji's case, 4, maybe they put this guy in the rotation right away. I think they have expectations to win next year, and I would be surprised if they fully punted on the pick for next season if the right guy is there at the very least.
All right, we'll see what ends up falling down to them. Chris, thank you for joining us for this NBA Draft Lottery Insider Report from Locked On Cavs.
Thank you.